Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope everybody is safe and sound, and I hope I'm audible to all of you. If there is any glitch or any distortion, please try and reconnect. Otherwise, this class is being recorded. You can listen to it later on. I've waited for almost 10 minutes for everyone to join in. I can see 28 participants right now, so we are going to commence. So, we are going to talk about the last scene of Act 2 from Caretaker, but let me give you a quick recap what has happened in the entire text that we have been trying to complete for many days. However, please understand the text seems to be very superficial and easy, but it is not that. It is very deep, and you can come up with many layered meanings, multifaceted meanings could be there. Today, I'll talk about some research articles that I've posted as well. You don't have to read the entire research articles, you just have to look for the points where you can take a look at the theme of loneliness, uh, guilt, security, existentialism. So, such themes could be there and that should be in your mind. But पहले हम text देख लेते हैं. So Act 1 में what happens in the Act 1 that we are introduced with one of the main characters, Aston. And the scene begins with how he rescues a homeless man named Davies from a bar fight and then offers him to become a caretaker of his room that he dearly, likes. And he is very disoriented, and Davies would like to, take advantage of that. Davies is portrayed through his language and utterances to be a manipulative man who wants to get most of this relationship or this acquaintance that he has just made. And he keeps on repeating few lines, Davies. I'm talking about those lines are that if the weather clears up, I would like to go to Sidcup and get my papers. So he wants to be authenticated. He wants to be somebody who wants to be acknowledged for his existence. कहीं ना कहीं बार बार इस repetition का यही मतलब है. In the end of the Act 1, we get to know how Aston opens up in front of Davies and tells him that he has gone through electric shock therapy and therefore he has never been the same and therefore he doesn't like crowds and certain kind of people and etc. So Act 1 actually ends like this. Then in the
Ma'am,
last, yes,
hello.
please.
Ma'am, we are also introduced with the character of Davies, much like the character that we have studied in modern level, like Tensley. For example, we know about the characteristic of Davies that he has no any person that he has no any good pass in his life. So when he brought by another character Aston, and he remained adamant, and he is considered as an authoritative in because his language and his dialogue reflects that he is very adamant and he is very authoritative. When he communicated with another character like Mick, he was very adamant over there, and he considered himself that I am an authoritative person, much like Tensley in the novel To the Lighthouse, because Charles Stanley, he does not enjoy his childhood. So when he went to the house of Ramsay, he also became like that, and he was using abusive, or he became very adamant to the child of Mrs. Ramsay as well. So we can compare this with the characteristics of Charles Stanley as well.
Absolutely. So Davies is not only manipulative, but he wants to assert himself, himself into the conversation to be depicted and portrayed as somebody who's the authoritative figure. However, Mick retaliates and responds in a similar kind of manner. However, in Act 1, we are only introduced with Mick when he says just one line where he says, "What is the game?" And in the second act is the point where we get to know that Mick wants to malign or provide information about Davies, that how he's a block and how he resembles or is very similar to that kind of an uncle that he definitely portrays. So definitely what Hamza says is point taken. It is important point that you can take home. However, second act में जब हम um, Davies को देखते हैं, we look at Davies, he is trying to become very comfortable. He's looking at all the drawers and everything possible in the room and he wants to make best of it. Now, there is a tension. We can see a tension between Davies and Aston that arises because Davies complains about everything. He's always disliking and disapproving the behavior that Aston's projects. And Aston dearly expressed and told Davies that he has gone through electric therapy and this is how he has become after that. But Davies, being Davies, doesn't care and all he wants is a certain way to be treated. And of course, Davies somehow deep down under thinks of himself as a street dog who has never been respected enough, and he plays the victim card, the age card, and all kinds of those cards that can be used in manipulation. So when he's offered the job of caretaker, he asks many questions. Would I be able to do this? Will I be asked or expected to do this and that? So it shows that he has never done a major work in his life and he has always survived on his instinct. Then we have younger brother of Eston, Mick, comes into the scene and he interrogates, almost insults and dismisses Davies through many dialogues that we have seen. And we'll see that Davies at first is very wary of Mick and he disrespects him back or tries to, but Mick is always having an upper hand. Eventually, within conversations to conversation, the scenes move and we get to know that Mick has somehow accepted the fact that Davies is going to live there, and then there are glances between the two brother Aston and Mick, which are very much suspicious and mysterious when we look at them or read the description. And Davies senses that he can take one side, and he first argues with Aston, but Aston tells him that he should leave because they have a argument. But then
Ma'am,
all of a sudden, जी बेटे.
ma'am, do you believe that Davies was also manipulated by Aston? We are introduced that he was manipulated by Davies, but what about your stance? Does he was he manipulated by Aston because he was brought by Aston towards his house?
Definitely, we can look at it as if Aston is trying to fill up a hole or we can say some kind of void that he feels within his mind or soul because he's not in his right full mind at the moment. Maybe he's shown to be kind hearted, but we can see that maybe he is a victim of isolation and seclusion and he wants somebody to talk to. So maybe he's in return manipulating or convincing Davies to come live with him. Maybe he wants somebody to talk to. Theme of communication is very prevalent. If you read any modern drama, you'll see that most of the characters they want some kind of connection with the other characters. They want to communicate, they want to have some sense of belonging, but they are unable to find it. If we see at the end, we will be seeing it, of course, we'll be reading that Davies asks Aston and Mick simultaneously and in different occasions that can I stay? Will you let me stay? Can I be this? Can I be that? जब इसको eviction notice प्रॉपरली मिल जाएगा तब भी वो यही कहता रहेगा कि मुझे इस तरह से रख लो तो मुझे उस तरह से रख लो तो that can be one of the perspectives as well. You can definitely incorporate that as well in one sense. Okay, so second act ends somewhere where we see that there are two brothers and then they are having some kind of conflict and Davies is trying to make best of it. Then we have act 3 in which Davies is not able to, he accidentally or deliberately unveils his true personality characteristics in front of the both brothers, and Aston understands and asks him to leave. Mick has already understood, therefore, he's never trusted him. He's just always made fun of him or took advantage of his naivety because he does understand he's not a man of a house. Mick उतना ही सड़कों पे रहा है जितना हम कह सकते हैं डेवीज पे रहा है तो डेवीज रहा है दैट इज व्हाई मिक अंडरस्टैंड्स where Davies comes from. So Mick tries to take an upper hand and tells him that you can decorate my room and you can be an interior or exterior designer and etc etc. मतलब उसको एक ख्वाब दिखाता है जिसकी fulfillment वो चाहता है but it doesn't happen because in the end आगे मैं आपको बता दूंगी तो वो story ही हो जाएगी. तो let's read the text where we left on I think पेज नंबर 68 और 69 पर थे. लेट मी अटैच इट. आप अपने बुक पे खोल सकते हो जो भी बुक आपके पास है. मोबाइल पे खोल सकते हैं अगर आपको नजर नहीं आ रहा है. ठीक है. सो पेज नंबर लेट मी सी. ओके लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम हियर पेज नंबर 68. मिक का डायलॉग है एंड देन वी हैव डेवीज. आई एम गोइंग टू बी मिक. आई नीड somebody to be Davies. Who would like to be Davies, please? जी मनाहिल गो अहेड. सो आई एम गोइंग टू रीड. अगर इससे पिछला सीन थोड़ा सा आपको बता दूं तो मैं कहता है you saying my brother hasn't got any sense, and Devi says what am I saying is you got ideas for this place, all this, all the decorating, see, I mean he's got no right to order me about. So यहाँ पर वो एक्सेप्ट भी नहीं करना चाहता है कि Davies is calling Aston somebody who has brought him, who has rescued him with bad names or bad characteristics.
Ma'am, could you please share your screen?
This screen is shared. बेटे किसी को नजर आ रही है तो प्लीज कंफर्म इन द चैट बॉक्स सो ताकि हमजा
Yes,
को
ma'am.
तसल्ली हो जाए.
Screen is shared.
Okay, bete. Right. Then we have okay, Mick says, what did he say then when you told him I would offer you the job as caretaker? Davy says,
He he said he said something about he lived here.
yes, he's got a point, doesn't he?
A point. This is your house, ain't? You let him live here.
I could tell him to go, I suppose.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I could tell him to go. I mean, I am the landlord. On the other hand, he's the sitting tenant. Giving him notice, you see what it is. It is a technical matter. That is what it is. It depends how you regard this room. I mean, it depends whether you regard this room as furnished or unfurnished. See what I mean?
No, I don't.
All the furniture you see in here, it's all his, except the beds, of course. So what it is, it's a fine legal point. That is what it is. Then there is a pause.
I tell you he should go back where he come from.
Come from?
Yes.
Where did he come from?
Well, he
So you see, एस्टन ने कहीं ना कहीं ये शेयर किया होता है कि what he went through, और डेवीज यही यहाँ पर यूज करने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि एज इफ वो इंसिनुएट कर रहा हो कि उसको मेंटल असाइलम वापस चला जाना चाहिए. ठीक है. ओके. फिर मैंने इसको छेड़ दिया. गिव मी अ मिनट प्लीज. So Mick says you get a bit out of your depth sometimes, don't you? Then there is a pause, rising briskly. Well, anyway, as things stand, I don't mind having a go at doing up the place.
That's what I wanted to hear.
No, no, I don't mind. He turns to face Davies, but you better be as good as you say you are.
What do you mean?
Well, you say you are an interior decorator. You would be a good one.
A what?
What do you mean, a what? A decorator, an interior decorator.
Me? What do you mean? I never touched that. I never been that.
You have never what?
No, no, not me, man. I'm not an interior decorator. I've been too busy, too many other things to do, you see. But I could always turn my hand to most things. Give me, give me a bit of time to pick it up.
I don't want you to pick it up. I want a first class experienced interior decorator. I thought you were one.
Me? Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. You got the wrong man.
How could I have the wrong man? You're the only man I've spoken to. You're the only man I've told about my dreams, about the deepest wishes. You're the only one I've told. And I only told you because I understood you were an experienced first class professional interior and exterior decorator.
Now look here.
You mean you wouldn't know how to fit teal blue copper and Persian liniment squares and have those colors re-echoed in the walls?
Now, look here. Where'd you get
You wouldn't be able to decorate out a table in Afro-Mosaic teak veneer, an armchair in oatmeal tweed, and a beach-framed city with a woven sea grass seat?
I never said that.
Christ, I must have been under a false impression.
I never said it.
You're a bloody imposter, mate.
Now you don't want to say that sort of thing to me. You look me on here as caretaker. You took me on here as caretaker. I was going to give you a helping hand. That's all. For a small wage. I never said nothing about that. You start calling me names?
What is your name?
Don't start that.
No, what is your real name?
My real name's Davies.
What is the name you go under?
Jenkins.
You got two names. What about the rest, eh? Now come on, why did you tell me all this dirt about you being an interior decorator?
I didn't tell you
Ma'am,
nothing.
मैम,
जी जी।
ये जो इसने इसने he has adopted another names. It is because of the dilemma of the modern people. We also study this in the modern poetry as well. So when the hopes were swept away, the people, when they did not know about their identity, they used to adopt another names. Therefore, I think Davies had adopted another names as well.
Of course, and the fact that existential crisis, identity crisis is always there and they're not sure what they want, the materialism or materialistic approach has surpassed their human senses and faculties, and therefore they're always in a conflict, and that is the modern dilemma. That's true. Then Devi says, I didn't tell you nothing. Won't you listen to what I'm saying? Then there's a pause.
It was him who told you. It was your brother who must have told you. He's nutty. He'd tell you anything out of spite. He's nutty. He's halfway gone. It was him who told you.
Mick walks slowly to him. What did you call my brother?
When?
He's what?
I now get this straight.
Nutty? Who's Nutty? Then there's a pause. Did you call my brother Nutty? My brother? That is a bit of that's a bit of an impertinent thing to say, isn't it?
But he says so himself.
Mick walks slowly round Davy's figure, regarding him once. He circles him once. Then Mick says, what a strange man you are, aren't you? You're really strange. Ever since you come into this house, there has been nothing but trouble. Honest, I can take nothing you say at face value. Every word you speak is open to any number of different interpretations. Most of what you say is lies. You're violent, you're erratic, you're just completely unpredictable. You are nothing else but a wild animal. When you come down to it, you are a barbarian. And to put that old tin lid on it, you stink from asshole to breakfast time. Look at it. You come here recommending yourself as an interior decorator, whereupon I take you on, and what happens? You make a long speech about all the references you've got down at Sitcup, and what happens? I haven't noticed you go down to Sitcup to obtain them. It was all most regrettable, but it looks as though I am compelled to pay you off for your caretaking work. Here's a $half. He feels in his pocket, takes out a half-crown and tosses it to Davy's feet. Davy stands still. Mick walks to the gas stove and picks up the Buddha.
Davies,
Ma'am,
slowly.
ma'am,
Gigi.
Ma'am, do you believe the relation of I mean the communication and the dialogues of mix resemblance to the dialect of Pozo, because the way Pozo was reacting towards Lucky, there was a relation of exploiter and exploited people, and the dialogue and the communication that Mick is reflecting, the completely reflecting that the Devi has no good pass, and he has no good pass as well, because he came over there for caretaker, and he is consider himself and is considered as a slave.
Okay, we can take that point as well. Why not? Then Mick says, that's what I want. He holds the Buddha against the gas stove. It breaks. Passionately, anyone would think this house was all I got to worry about. I got plenty of other things I can worry about. I've got other things. I've got plenty of other interests. I've got my own business to build up, haven't I? I got to think about expanding in all directions. I don't stand still. I'm moving about all the time. I'm moving all the time. I've got to think about the future. I'm not worried about this house. I'm not interested. My brother can worry about it. He can do it up. He can decorate it. He can do what he likes with it. I am not bothered. I thought I was doing him a favor, letting him live here. He's got his own ideas. Let him have them. I am going to chuck it in. Then there's a pause.
What about me?
Then there's a silence. Mick does not look at him. A door bangs. Then there is silence again. They do not move. So this is an important line, that they do not move. अच्छा, ये line हमारे पास उसमें भी है, waiting for Godot में, right? So if such a line is given in the examination जहाँ दोनों हैं, तो आप reference में दोनों का बात कर सकते हैं और explanation में दोनों की बात थोड़े sentences में लेकिन mention कर सकते हैं. Then Aston comes in, he closes the door, moves into the room and faces Mick. They look at each other, both are smiling faintly. Then Mick, beginning to speak to Aston, look, He stops, goes to the door and exits. अच्छा ये पहली दफा नहीं हुआ. This is I think third time that Mick and Aston they are face to face. They look at each other and then they leave. फिर broken Buddha की बात हो रही है that you can read at your own. Davy says,
I just come back from my pipe.
"Now I'm Aston, not Mick." Oh yes.
I got out and halfway down I suddenly found out, you see, that I hadn't got my pipe. So I come back to get it. Pause.
Pause.
He moves to Aston. That ain't the same plug, is it, you been? Pause. Still can't get anywhere with it, eh? Pause. Well, if you preserve, in my opinion, you'll probably pause, listen, then pause. You didn't mean that, did you? About me stinking, did you? Pause. Did you? You've been a good friend to me. You took me in. You took me in. You didn't ask me no questions. You gave me a bed. You've been a maid to me. Listen, I've been thinking why I made all them noises. It was because of the draught. See, the draught was on me as I was sleeping, made me make noises without me knowing it. So I've been thinking what I mean to say. If you was to give me your bed and you have my bed, there's not all that difference between them. They're the same sort of bed. If I was to have yours, you sleep wherever bed you are in. So you have mine. I have yours, and that'll be all right. I'll be out of my drought. See, I mean, you don't mind a bit of wind. You need a bit of air. I can understand that. You being in that place that time with all them doctors and all they done, closed up. I know them places too hot. You see, there's always too hot. I had a peep in one once, nearly suffocated me. So I reckon that'd be the best way out of it. We swapped beds, and then we could get down to what we was saying. I'd look after the place for you. I'd keep an eye on it for you, like not for the other, not for your brother. You see, not for him, for you. I'll be your man. You say the word, just say the word. Pause. What do you think of this? I'm saying. Pause.
No, I like sleeping in this bed.
But you don't understand my meaning.
Anyway, that one's my brother's bed.
Your brother?
Anytime he stays here, that is my bed. It is the only bed I can sleep in.
But your brother's gone. He's gone.
No, I couldn't change beds.
But you don't understand my meaning.
Anyway, I'm going to be busy. I've got that shed to get up. If I don't get it up now, it will never go up. Until it is up, I can't get started.
I'll give you a hand to put up your shed. That's what I'll do.
See how he changes? He wants to help now. Before that, he would only complain and criticize, but now he wants to be part of something.
I'll give you a hand. We'll both put up that shed together. See? Get it done in next to no time. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, I can get it up myself.
But listen, I'm with you. I'll be here. I'll do it for you. We'll do it together. Christ, we'll change beds. You mean you are throwing me out? You can't do that. Listen, man, I don't mind, you see. I don't mind, I'll stay. I don't mind. I'll tell you what, if you don't want to change beds, we'll keep it as it is. I'll stay in the same bed. Maybe if I can get a stronger piece of sacking, like to go over the window, keep out the draught, that'll do it. What do you say? We'll keep it as it is?
No.
Why not?
Aston turns to look at him. You make too much noise.
But But look, listen here. I mean, Aston turns back to the window. What am I going to do? Pause. What shall I do? Where am I going to go? Pause. If you want me to go, I'll go. You just say the word. Pause. I'll tell you what though. Them shoes you gave me, they're working out all right. They're all right. Maybe I could get down. Aston remains still, his back to him at the window. Listen, if I got down, if I was to get my papers, would you let would you if I got down and got my long silence?
And then there's Cotton. So you see, he was given chances, but he blew them off. And now Aston doesn't want to listen. whatsoever. So this was your play. To read it multiple times from text perspective, it is important because there could be a question of reference to the context that could be a tricky one. So इसलिए आप जरूर इसको पढ़ लीजिएगा. अच्छा, I would like to share this article that I found. This is helpful for your preparation for this play. Remember, there are many similarities between Waiting for Godot and The Caretaker. For example, if Waiting for Godot is an avant-garde play, it is an existential play, so is द केयर टेकर. सो जो उस पे एप्लीकेबल है इस पर भी है. नाउ ट्रेसेस ऑफ गिल्ट, आइडेंटिटी, सिक्योरिटी एंड एग्जिस्टेंस इन द केयर टेकर. एब्स्ट्रैक्ट दिया हुआ है, ये आप खुद पढ़ लीजिएगा. हम सीधा सीधा traces of guilt, identity, and security पे चलते हैं. And if Davies has Sidcup as a possible salvation and Aston has his garden shed as a future starting point, likewise, Mick has his own fantasy. I got to think about expanding in all directions. This is what Hearn has said in 1982. अब तीनों characters की characterization हो गई है that Davies wants to go to Sidcup और उसको लगता है वहाँ salvation है उसके लिए. एस्टन को लगता है कि वो शेड लगा लेगा तो पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा. और सिमिलरली मिक जो है वो एक्सपेंशन की बात करता है. द फेलियर ऑफ द कैरेक्टर्स टू रिलेट सक्सेसफुली विद वन अनदर is because of their sense of guilt and their isolated and disconnected lives. So they longed for communication. Bolton, in his context, states, Bolton is an expert, Pinter's fascination with human isolation and insecurity, his awareness of brutal world where mystery and tension are always suddenly liable to appear, his recognition of the human humdrum or as well as the sinister which are part of human experiences, and his control of the verbal medium of all these features reappear in the latest full-length play The Caretaker. This is undoubtedly his best play. ठीक है. आई डोंट एक्सपेक्ट कि बेटे आपको ये जुबानी याद हो जाए, लेकिन यू कैन यूज दीज वर्ड्स व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस प्ले. दैट writer had fascinations with human isolation and insecurities. ठीक है. The action of the play takes place in the junk-filled room of a tumble-down house, and other rooms need a lot of doing. In the opening scene of the play, Aston, a slow-witted and work-shy man. Now look at this characteristic. ये इस तरह के words आप उसके characteristic के लिए use कर सकते हैं. Who is in his 30s, has invited the tramp Davies. He has he has been rescued in a fight at a cafe where he has been working as a cleaner. Davies is defeated character with the sense of guilt, hatred, and is an outcast. So Davies को हमने बेशक negative light में देखा है, but if we talk about him, he's always been on the streets, on the survival mode, and he has always been subjugated to violence and hatred, and eventually he has always faced this feeling that he's an outcast. हमें ये कैसे पता चलता है? Because time and again we see him saying that they treat me like dirt. They used to give me a little portion of food and they would expect me to do this and that. So he felt that disrespect towards him, the dismissal of the society towards him. Therefore, he always considered himself as an outcast. He's also a person who stands for his right from the society that has oppressed him. So if we oppress a person to such an extent, there are two major possibilities. One is the person dies or become depressed and takes a step back, or the person fights back. So if we look at Davies, he has always kept himself intact. He has always fought through thick and thin. He hates the blacks and never wants to put himself at the same rank as they have been. Now, Davies is oppressed by an amorphous they who rank him in the same class as they are. Therefore, Black becomes responsible for Davies' sense of guilt and trouble. अगर आपने डेविस का कैरेक्टर लिखना है तो उसमें आप ये एनालिसिस लिख सकते हैं. In the end, Mick brutally breaks down Davies, falls in fragile self-created social hierarchy for him. In this context, Hearn has stated, "You're a bloody imposter, mate. I can take nothing you say at face value." जो लाइन अभी हमने पढ़ी भी थी. The caretaker from the first to last is Davies' struggle to be free from the clutches of his sense of guilt. अब देखें, जब हमने थ्रू आउट प्ले की डिस्कशन की है तो हमने डेविस को एक सेंस में देखा है कि ही इज नेगेटिव एंड एस्टन इज काइंड हार्टेड एंड मिक अंडरस्टैंड्स एंड एवरीथिंग. This article tells you about how Davies has always gone through this feeling of guilt, and it has kept him in a room that he always wanted to keep that position of a caretaker in that room. But this house of false hope collapsed eventually. Hamza ने in the middle of our discussion mention भी किया था कि कहीं ना कहीं manipulation two-way process की तरह है, and that is true. Somehow he got his hopes up from both the brothers in one occasion or on the other, but eventually उसकी वजह से सारे जो hopes हैं वो they become a smoke screen, or in the end they are false, they are nothing. In the end, despite his efforts from removing his sense of guilt, he faces it as if it puts him on the same level of an animal, because Mick somewhere says that you are a brutal wild animal, जो अभी हमने देखा भी है. Mick's statement in this connection is significant. When Mick calls Davies a foreigner, Davies quickly replies that he's a British citizen. That is also identity crisis, that is also existential crisis, that your paper is your identity. जैसे शायद मैंने आपको कहीं शुरू में बताया भी हो कि without our CNIC, our paperwork, we are refugees, we are fugitives, we are nobodies. Without your paperwork, you cannot get admitted to anything. People will not trust you. People don't trust you with paperwork even in today's world. So how would they trust you without your paperwork? You cannot get a home, you won't get a room. So there are many problems that comes with this paperwork thing in the modern dilemma. This kind of self-image is a weapon for individuals like Davies to provide a veneer of social respectability that he can use as a means of projecting himself onto others. So the fact that Davies had this assertive nature and he keeps telling everybody that he's this and he's done that. He has been with plenty of women. He has slept on plenty of beds. He wants to provide that he deserves respect in the society as well. But that sense of guilt is so prevalent in his dialogues that you can see right through him that he does feel to be subjugated to marginalization and oppression. ठीक है, तो इसी तरह से इस पूरे करेक्टर का यहाँ एनालिसिस है बेटे, इसे पढ़ लीजिएगा. अगर आपको ना समझ आए तो मंडे की क्लास में आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं. अच्छा, द सेंस ऑफ गिल्ट डोमिनेट्स द प्ले थ्रू द मेनेंस इनसिक्योरिटी एंड आइडेंटिटी, जो अभी हमने बात की. इनसिक्योरिटी तो है ही, तभी आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस आता है. और मेनेंस शुरू में मैंने आपको बताया था, दैट इज द फीलिंग दैट द करेक्टर, द मॉडर्न करेक्टर्स दे फील, एंड द राइटर हैज skillfully used in order to show the malign or malignant characteristics of several characters. And Davies is always searching for some kind of place. So he's looking for fulfilling that void that he feels in his personality. ठीक है, फिर यहाँ पर ये चलता चला जाएगा. अब देखिए यहाँ पर एक comparison दिया हुआ है somewhere. In Beckett's Waiting for Godot, the two main characters are waiting for salvation to come. In Pinter's The Caretaker, one of the characters, Davies, is within sight of salvation and is driven out of paradise by his own original sin. What is his original sin? That he is a nobody, that he is a street beggar, that he is a homeless man, कि उसका कोई नहीं है. That is his original sin. Or else he says it is Mick who plays the role of a snake in the reenactment of Adam's expulsion from paradise. अब यहाँ पर वो देखे कितनी vivid imagery यूज कर रहे हैं. जैसे कोई नॉवल का रेफरेंस आपको हमजा ने दिया, तो एक रेफरेंस आपके लिए ये भी हो सकता है बेटे कि एडम को कैसे एक्सपेल किया गया था पैराडाइज से. Similarly, apparently, Davies inane boasts and complaints about Aston. He has deliberately provoked him into revealing the worst side of his nature. ठीक है, तो इसी तरह से आप यहाँ पर एक रेफरेंस दे सकते हैं. उसके बाद अगर आगे चलें, ये वही एनालिसिस चल रहा है, बहुत डिटेल्ड एनालिसिस है, आप देख सकते हैं. फिर एस्टन की बात है. Aston has isolated himself from society as well, because somewhere when he expresses his ordeal to Davies, तो वो कहता है कि I don't like people anymore. I stare and I keep clear myself of such places such as the cafe that he mentioned. Then he says, I never go into them now. I don't talk to people, to anyone like that. He feels alienated from his own mother, who he thinks, क्योंकि कहीं पे वो कहता है कि my mother signed the paperwork and then the doctors, they came every night and they did this to our brains and etc. So he has been abandoned. The fear of abandonment, psychological, can have a toll on your soul and your mentality, and that is what has happened over here. Aston also refers to the hostile forces that beset him as they. देखिए दे जो है डेविस भी यूज करता है ब्लैक लोगों के लिए और एस्टन भी यूज करता है कि जैसे उसको ट्रीट किया गया इन इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रीटमेंट. His self estrangement is seen as the vast gap between his self image as being good at his hands and capable of building a shed for himself. Because he has been left for or left in a vegetative state, डेफिनेटली इलेक्ट्रिक शॉक होने से बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकते हैं. बॉडीली मूवमेंट में प्रॉब्लम हो सकते हैं. सोचने वो खुद बताता भी है कि सोचने की कैपेसिटी में प्रॉब्लम है. तो डेफिनेटली उसका एनालिसिस आप लिख सकते हैं. देन मिक इज एलियनेटेड फ्रॉम बोथ ऑफ दीज करेक्टर्स. आप देखेंगे कि मिक जब भी एंटर करता है, जब भी एस्टन एंटर करता था तो मिक चला जाता था. वेरी वन और टू लाइन्स कैन बी देयर बिटवीन द टू. सो थीम ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन इज डेफिनेटली देयर. Mick is alienated from both of these characters. He never speaks to with his brother amicably and candidly. Perhaps Aston's mental problem is the most important factor behind it. Mick has an aggressive behavior towards Davies and he accepts him as a member of his family. He never accepts him as a member of his family or a tenant for that matter. Mick insults him, interrogates him, he pressurizes Davies to disclose his past, which he has no desire to. He never reveals his real name. Davies tries to utilize all his skill to get the two brothers to go against each other. अगर आप तीनों करेक्टर को सेपरेटली लें तो तीनों को ही एक सेंस ऑफ गिल्ट है, तीनों को ही इनसिक्योरिटीज भी हैं, तीनों को ही एग्जिस्टेंशियल क्राइसिस भी है और तीनों ही कहीं ना कहीं कम्युनिकेशन चाहते हैं बट दे आर अनेबल टू फाइंड द म्यूचुअल ग्राउंड फॉर इट. ओके उसके बाद okay, there is one reference to ego and superego. Do you know this theory by Sigmund Freud? Id, ego and superego, कॉन्शियस अनकॉन्शियस एंड सबकॉन्शियस माइंड. पता है इसके बारे में कुछ?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to enlighten your classmates a little? What are these and how do they help us interpret any personality?
मैम जो थ्री टाइप्स ऑफ माइंड है,
हम्म.
पहले कॉन्शियस
हम्म.
और सबकॉन्शियस और अनकॉन्शियस.
जी.
कॉन्शियस अभी ये है जो आप हमें लेक्चर दे रहे, तो ये बातें हमें अभी याद भी है और हमारे माइंड भी स्टोर भी हो रही है, तो ये कॉन्शियस में आ जाता है. क्या आप अवेयर हो के सराउंडिंग में क्या हो रहा है. और अनकॉन्शियस ये है कि मतलब उसके लिए जो पिछली वीक का अगर मैं लेक्चर की बात करूँ तो वो भी मेरे माइंड में स्टोर है, लेकिन मुझे कुछ स्ट्रगल करना पड़ेगा उसको याद करने के लिए, तो ये हमारे अनकॉन्शियस में आ जाते हैं. और सबकॉन्शियस ये है कि जो हमारे सीक्रेट्स होते हैं वो हमें याद होते हैं, लेकिन हम वो बताना नहीं चाहते किसी को.
Absolutely, that's correct. I'll show you guys a video that will help you to gather the idea that I usually play in my classes. So आपको ये हेल्प हो जाएगी कि ये क्या है. कोई भी करेक्टर एनालिसिस इस बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग के बगैर नहीं होती. आप ये यूटिलाइज जरूर करते हैं बट परहैप्स यू डोंट नो दैट यू कैन नेम इट एज वेल. So this is Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory on instincts, जहाँ पे motivation, personality development, all of it is connected in one way or another. It's just 2 minutes. Let's watch it together and then we can go back to the discussion.
Sigmund Freud is one of the most famous names in psychology. Even though most of his ideas have been abandoned by modern psychology, his psychoanalytic theory formed the basis for many current psychodynamic theories. Freud was the first to discuss the unconscious mind and its role in human behavior. Freud believed that there were three levels of consciousness. First is the unconscious mind, which exists outside of your awareness at all times. Next is the preconscious mind, which includes all information that you are not currently aware of, but that can be recalled. Finally, the conscious mind is your current state of awareness. Remember the cartoons you used to watch as a child? The main character is confronted with a choice. On his left shoulder is a little devil pushing him toward a bad choice. On his right shoulder, a little angel is encouraging him to make a good choice. He is stuck in the middle and forced to make a decision that will affect him. This scenario is much like Freud's theory of personality. There are 3 parts to personality according to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory. These are the id, superego, and ego. The id is the first to develop, the ego is second, and the superego is the last to develop. The id is the biological component of the personality and includes your instincts. The id operates in our unconscious mind. It is like the little devil sitting on the cartoon character's shoulder that's always selfish and needy. It operates according to the pleasure principle. The pleasure principle is the idea that all of your needs should be met immediately. Then there's the superego. The superego exists in all 3 levels of consciousness. The superego is like the little angel. It is always concerned with what is socially acceptable. The superego pushes you to obtain the ego ideal, or your view of what is right. It also represents your conscience, or your view of what is considered to be wrong. Finally, we have the ego. The ego operates in your preconscious and conscious mind. The ego is part of the personality that makes your decisions. This is like the cartoon character in the example. The ego is in the middle, makes the decision, and faces the consequences. The ego operates according to the reality principle. The reality principle is the idea that the desires of the id must.
Okay, so I hope it's quite clear in your mind that we have 3 levels of conscious mind. We have id, ego, and superego. Id works on the pleasure principle that all the needs that one personality or one person has should be met immediately. Then we have superego, which is always conflicted with the fact what is morally or socially acceptable. So it works on the principle of morality. And then we have ego that works on the principle of reality, that what is to be done and what needs to be done. So इसी तरह से जब हम इन कैरेक्टर्स की बात करते हैं उसमें भी हमें यही नजर आता है जो मैं आपके लिए लाइन पढ़ने वाली थी. I'll show you. Yeah. Now, you see, when the unconscious establishes its dominance over the ego, all complexes and repressed wishes are activated, and there is no way out for ego, but only a meek submission to it. The structure of the play, The Caretaker, works out this theme. The play opens with the arrival of a tramp whose name is Davies. He has been brought to Mick's room by Aston. Davies starts abusing Aston's kindness, and even he tries to play them against each other. First Aston, then Mick. But the bond between the two proves quite strong, and it is Davies who is eventually evicted from the room at the end of the play. Davies is a destructive agent of unconscious. He does not bring any message of happiness and security for Aston, only annihilation, the fragmentation of personality. This fragmentation happens when Aston in Act 2 confesses to Davies about the electric shock. जैसे अभी मैं आपसे डिस्कशन कर रही थी, उस डिस्कशन को strengthen करने के लिए you can definitely talk about this theory, the psychoanalytic theory, and this helps your analysis to the core. Davies, as a symbol of unconscious world, is responsible for all the burdens of the suppressed wishes which are manifested through his racial hatred. All them Greeks had it, Poles, Greeks, blacks, a lot of them aliens had it, and they had me working there. All them blacks had it, blacks, Greeks, Poles, a lot of them. And that's what doing men out of a seat treating me like dirt. Now, Davies has come from the world of uncertainty under the excuse of being an outcast. Nobody knows anything about his past and his identity. Sometimes he's called Jenkins, and sometimes he's called McDavies. Perhaps he has come from the world of nothingness, the dark world of the unconsciousness, the fact that he time and again refers to Sid Cub to extinguish the egos of those people who live in illusion. He attempts to break Aston's illusion for a shed in the garden or Mick's desire for the luxurious residence. Davies is an archetypal character. This is another theory. Agar nahi samajh aati, you can drop it, but it's a very easy theory to understand. He can intensify the tension of horror and menace with the identity that is not clear to anybody. He does not deserve forming a meaningful relationship with. He is aggressive, resentful, whining, and above all, he stinks. His past is unknown. It is possible that he had a wife and abandoned her. Davies is a Welsh name, but there is nothing particularly Welsh in his accent and speech. The detail of his papers in Sidcup are a mystery. Despite their prominence in the play, Davies believes that Sidcup holds the answer to all his problems. ठीक है, इसी तरह से पिटेस का एनालिसिस चल रहा है तो डेफिनेटली आप इसे पढ़ लीजिएगा. कंक्लूजन देख लेते हैं. डेवीज डेथ is the most important evidence for the punishment of unconscious in the trial of the ego. He should pay for what he has done. He is also exiled to the same place that he came from at the very first place. This escape from the past is not possible. The past is a big punishment. Everybody wants to forget it, and at the same time, one can only identify themselves with the past effects. There is perhaps universality about the predicament which audiences consciously or unconsciously recognize. The play also ends with the predicament of identity. Davies faces the prospect of being expelled from his refuge, and the two brothers of returning to their former state of non-communication and isolation. ये बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल है. It's complete in its own sense. ये आप पढ़ लेंगे एक बार तो आपका पेपर तैयार हो सकता है. देखिए, सेंस ऑफ गिल्ट, आइडेंटिटी, सिक्योरिटी एंड एग्जिस्टेंशियलिज्म और एग्जिस्टेंस. इसी से रिलेटेड एक और भी है विच इज मच इजियर टू अंडरस्टैंड. दिस वन दैट आई एम रेफरिंग टू, इट हैज बीन पोस्टेड. बेटे आप जरूर पढ़ लीजिएगा अगर टाइम मिले. थीम ऑफ लोनलीनेस एंड आइसोलेशन, ये उसी को कॉरेस्पॉन्ड करता है. ये थोड़ा सा इजी तरीके से लिखा हुआ है तो आप इसको भी पढ़ सकते हैं. इसमें इंट्रोडक्शन भी लिखा हुआ है और फिर सीधा सीधा वो लोनलीनेस एंड आइसोलेशन पर चले जाते हैं और आपको टेक्स्ट एनालिसिस भी मिल जाता है एंड यू हैव रेफरेंसेस एज वेल. तो ये आप जरूर पढ़ लीजिएगा. बस हम इसका कंक्लूजन आपके साथ में शेयर कर लेती हूँ. It can be concluded through the article that the author confirms the inescapability of man's loneliness. However, a cautious explanation of the theme of loneliness discloses the loneliness may be the result of humans' inadequacies or enforced by certain aggressive conditions schemed and combined against them. The first explanation applies to Davy's state of affair. He was saved by Aston when he was in trouble, alone and lonely. He did not believe his chance after Aston's offer of a shelter. Because वो बार बार पूछता है, can I stay? Would you want me to stay? Would you let me stay? Yet he evaluates things when they are really absent and not present. In fact, he was given several opportunities to reconcile and merge with the world and conquer his feelings of loneliness, but he did not exploit them and was unable to respond with humbleness and generosity. Even if Eston treated him with generosity and sympathy because he was incapable of to control his human weakness to play on both brothers and move each other against each other, of course. In contrast, Aston was destined and ruined by loneliness due to the various reasons, one of which was society, which condemned his energy and sensitivity. In fact, despite his aberrant insights and artistic tendencies, Aston was diminished to conventionality. His mother's cruelty and his brother's Mick's scheme betrayed him when they put him in a mental hospital to make scientific experiences on his brain or experiments on his brain. He did everything adequate to make a real companionship in order to defeat his loneliness, yet he was also betrayed by Davies. His feelings of loneliness was not willingly but rather enforced by aggressive conditions out of control. In his loneliness, the only solace he had was his brother Mick, who immediately defended him against Davies' attempt to move him against Aston. Nevertheless, it looks sarcastic to imagine how hopeless Aston and Davies were in their longing for a sympathetic companionship, how they did not achieve their goal, and how tragic was their end. So ये tragedy भी है, इसको आप tragedy भी consider करेंगे. ठीक है, और ये avant-garde play भी है. इसमें बहुत similarities हैं if we talk about Waiting for Godot और इसको. इसके बाद एक और आर्टिकल है, वो भी इससे मिलता जुलता है, उसको पढ़ लेंगे तो हेल्प हो जाएगी. वर्बल रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंशियल इश्यूज इन केयरटेकर। तो ये एक समरी है 4 पेज की, इसमें बहुत अच्छा क्लैरिटी के साथ उन्होंने आपको प्रोवाइड किया हुआ है कि ग्रामेटिकली एलिप्सिस क्या मोटिव है, करेक्टर ऐसे क्यों बोल रहा है, एग्रेशन एंड वायलेंस क्यों है, केयर टेकर के वर्ड की क्या प्रोस्पेक्ट है, क्लाइमेक्स कैसे बताता है, फिर ह्यूमन, वही बातें आ रही हैं जो मैंने आपसे शेयर की हैं, बाकी बहुत अच्छा इसमें एक लिंग्विस्टिक टच भी है। तो अगर आप पढ़ लेंगे तो अच्छा हो जाएगा। देखिए एक लाइन में आपको यहाँ से सिर्फ एक बता देती हूँ। वन मोर एग्जिस्टेंशियल टॉपिक रेज्ड इन द प्ले इज ह्यूमन इनएबिलिटी टू कम्युनिकेट. Pinter shows that people have become isolated, they have withdrawn, and they are unwilling to listen to others. They have no listening ear anymore. And what is more important than hearing them and communicate with them? All the utterances of each characters are unfinished, incomplete, with elliptical sentences and apostrophes. चलिए इलिप्सिस भी लिख देंगे तो समझ आ जाएगी। इलिप्सिस क्या होते हैं बेटे? इन 3 डॉट्स को बोलते हैं। ये पंक्चुएशन मार्क और आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत बार यूज हुआ है, तो ये थीम ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन में आप ये डेफिनेटली मेंशन कर सकते हैं। ओके, सो दैट्स ऑल फॉर दिस drama. If you have any drama, no, you don't have a drama. I mean, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Yes, if you want to give references from novel or poetry that you think corresponds to what you're going to write in your analysis, why not? With proper citation, you can, and you should. Okay, there is one message from Unir as well. He says that can we say that they are talking to each other deliberately because their life is full of absurdity and existential crisis? Of course, it is true. Yes, Junaid, सेम थीमेटिक लैंडस्केप होगा, मॉडर्न नॉवल हो, मॉडर्न पोइट्री हो या मॉडर्न ड्रामा हो. Many similarities in terms of themes could be there. Okay, there are no questions, which means everything is crystal clear. There are few announcements. शायद मैंने क्लास में कर दी थी, अब मुझे याद नहीं. Let me cross check. अगर नहीं की तो मैं आपसे शेयर कर देती हूँ.
Ma'am,
जी जी.
ma'am, can we say that the character of Mick is a round character? I think he changed at the end.
Did he change?
मैंने कहा मैम हम उसके करेक्टर को वो राउंड कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि जो उसकी पहले वाली थी जिस तरह वो कर रहा था, और तो बाद में फिर उसको भी केयर टेकर कहता है कि आप डेविस बने, तो हम उसको कहते हैं कि करेक्टर एनालिसिस में जो इसकी मिक की करेक्टर्स में चेंजिंग आई है।
For
ये सवाल
example.
है मतलब हमको। उसकी हम मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ मैम, जो करेक्ट एनालिसिस होगा कि मिक का ये राउंड करेक्टर होगा या फ्लैट करेक्टर होगा?
आपको क्या लगता है?
मुझे मैम आई थिंक, क्योंकि जब अभी डिस्कशन हो रही थी, क्योंकि वो जो पहले उससे मिलता है तो पहले उसकी डिस्कशन लैंग्वेज में थोड़ी वो आती है, फिर जब आसादा करता है तो वो उसको भी ऑफर करता है कि आप केयर टेकर बनो, मतलब उनकी साइको एनालिसिस में चेंजिंग आती है, तो मुझे वो राउंड लगता है फिर।
बिल्कुल, दैट्स ट्रू, बिकॉज उसका जो बिहेवियर है बहुत कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी है, बहुत डिसमिसल सा है, डिसमिसिव सा है। और उसके पास जो मोटिवेशंस हैं टू मूव फॉरवर्ड, जैसे वो कहता है आई वुड लाइक टू एक्सपैंड, आई वुड लाइक टू डू दिस, आई हैव सो मेनी इंटरेस्ट। सो जो उसके डायलॉग्स हैं वो हमें यही बताते हैं कि डेफिनेटली हम उसको, इसके करेक्टर को इजीली आप फ्लैट नहीं कह सकते, तो दैट इज व्हाई इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ डायनामिक और अ राउंड करेक्टर, because it showcases or contributes to the plot structure in one way or another, because it Mick brings in a lot of emotions, motivations, and complexity or complication to the drama or the plot of the drama.
Ma'am, and the plot development of this novel is also non-linear, much like the drama Waiting for Godot.
हाँ, बहुत, इनमें मैंने आपसे कहा ना, दोनों ही एवेंट गार्ड प्ले हैं और दोनों में बहुत सिमिलैरिटीज हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर दैट यू टॉक अबाउट। और इस ड्रामे में ना जो हमारे पास जो तीनों करेक्टर्स है ना, ऑल ऑफ देम आर डायनेमिक इन वन सेंस, दे आर राउंड करेक्टर्स बिकॉज दे चेंज।
मैम, ये मेरा सवाल ये है कि हमने जो कंपैरिजन, तो मैम इस दोनों ड्रामास के अंदर जो ने फाइंड किए, मतलब बहुत सी कंपैरिजन से थीम्स में भी हो रहा है। अगर मतलब इसमें डिफरेंसेस पूछा जाए, कंट्रास्ट, तो किस पर्सपेक्टिव से हम इसको करेंगे, मतलब आपका क्या ख्याल है, कौन से इसमें कंट्रास्ट आ रहा है ड्रामा में?
देखिए, कंट्रास्ट इस तरह से आ सकता है ना कि वेटिंग फॉर गॉडो में आपके पास जो ट्रैम्प्स हैं वो टोटली ट्रैम्प्स हैं और उन पे फोकस है, लेकिन यहाँ पर हमारे पास टू ब्रदर्स हैं जो एक ट्रैम्प को इंट्रोडक्शन देते हैं, तो कंट्रास्टिंग इमेजेस में आप यही बात कर सकते हैं कि ट्रैम्प्स दोनों में ही है, लेकिन ट्रैम्प्स का पर्सपेक्टिव डिफरेंट है। डेवीज इज सो अथॉरिटेटिव, बट वेलेडिमीर एंड एस्ट्रोगॉन दे आर नॉट अथॉरिटेटिव, बट हैं तो ट्रैम्प्स ही। ठीक है, अथॉरिटेटिवनेस जो है वो भी किसी कंट्री रोड पर ही है ना। जो हमारे पास वेटिंग फॉर गॉडो वाले करेक्टर्स है, वेलेडिमीर एंड एस्ट्रोगॉन, वो रोड्स पे ही रहते हैं और वहीं पे सरवाइव करने की कोशिश करते हैं, लेकिन एक कंट्रास्ट उनकी पर्सनालिटीज में आपको नजर आता
मैम
है। जी जी।
मैम अगर आप इन इन ड्रामास में से भी इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन जैसे आपने मिड्स में मेंशन किए थे, फिर हमारे लिए थोड़ा तैयारी करना इजी हो गया था, मतलब दोनों में से अगर मेंशन कर दें जो पेपर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इम्पोर्टेंट होंगे।
बेटे, ये जो आर्टिकल्स है ना, इन इसको पढ़ लोगे तो हो जाएगा। क्वेश्चंस आई कांट फॉर्मुलेट, इट विल टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, देयर इज नो यूटिलिटी ऑफ इट। सो आप इन जो मैंने आपसे आज शेयर किया ना, इनको अगर आप एक रीडिंग में पढ़ लोगे, इसको समराइज करवा लो किसी एआई से, नहीं भी पढ़ना तो दैट्स फाइन। Get it summarized, look for the important pointers, and you do understand कि अब जो complexity level होगा, it's going to be much worse as compared to the mid terms ना। मिड टर्म तो बहुत आसान दिया गया था, बहुत आसान बनाया गया था, तो ये थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होगा, इसके लिए पढ़ना पड़ेगा।
ओके मैम, ओके, थैंक
जी। अच्छा, आई वॉज टॉकिंग अबाउट दी अनाउंसमेंट्स, शायद आपसे मेरी हाँ हुई थी, मैंने कुछ पोस्ट किया हुआ है। That is, if you would like to give a quiz on 23rd of December, नहीं भी देना तो बेटे that is also okay by me, मैं आपके ग्रुप में एक पोल बना दूंगी, तो आप yes और no कर सकते हैं, तो आप वो आकर दे सकते हैं, आपके स्कोर्स फिर लॉक कर दिए, मतलब फाइनलाइज कर दिए जाएंगे। ठीक है, नहीं भी आना तो बेटे कोई प्रेशर नहीं है, दिल पे नहीं लेना है, परेशान नहीं होना है, ठीक है। चलो, चले 5 मिनट और, आई एम स्टेइंग हियर, इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस प्लीज पूछें, अदरवाइज विल बी एंडिंग इट देन। and then you're free to go to another class if you have any.
मैम ये जो मॉडर्न की डायलेमा है मॉडर्निटी की है, फॉर एग्जांपल कहीं ना कहीं ये चीज एग्जिस्ट करेगी ड्रामा के अंदर, एक ये सवाल आ जाए, हम ये तो उसमें हमने ऐड करनी है, तो हम इसको दूसरे पर्सपेक्टिव से रिलेट कर सकते हैं ना, क्योंकि पोइट्री के अंदर भी यही चीज है, नॉवेल के अंदर भी, मतलब अपनी आर्ग्यूमेंट को स्ट्रांग करने के लिए।
हाँ, कर सकते हैं, बस वो कॉन्टेक्चुअलाइज्ड होना चाहिए, ऐसा ना होना कि दे आर वर्ल्ड अपार्ट, यानी उनका आपस में कोई तुक ना बन रहा। तुक बनाना है, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट। बनाया तो कुछ भी जा सकता है, इट्स एवरीथिंग अंडर द स्काई। लिटरेचर की खूबसूरती यही है, क्रिटिसिज्म इज सो ब्यूटिफुल एंड कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एट द सेम टाइम दैट इट इज एवरीथिंग अंडर द स्काई। सो इफ यू आर एबल टू पुल इट ऑफ, व्हाई नॉट। एजाज
मैम
कह रहे हैं कि क्विज में, यस बेटे, यू कैन कम ऑन 23rd एंड गिव योर क्विज, व्हाई नॉट। जी बेटे नूर, बताएं।
मैम ये जो रेफरेंस टू कॉन्टेक्स्ट है ये कहीं से भी आ सकता है?
जी ऐसा ही है।
ओके मैम।
इन दो प्लेस में से ना, ये जो हमारे मिड के बाद वाले हैं, केयर टेकर एंड वेटिंग फॉर गॉडो। Okay ji, that will be all then. Take care. Allah Hafiz. See you on Monday. Good luck.
ओके, थैंक यू मैम।